Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. Now that we're all in the mood and doing a little bit of chair dancing here. Hi, Lee. My Cajun cousin's in the house. Hi, Jason. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Jackie. Um, Val will not be with us tonight. She was feeling under the weather, bad sinus headache. And she emailed me and said, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I said, go to bed. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You'll be hosting next week anyway, so don't worry about it.
Exactly.
So y'all just send a little prayer her way for her sinus headache to clear up, because that sucks when that hits. It really does.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank my lovely co-hosts that are with me tonight, Miss Marina from Heart Centered Tarot, and the lovely Allie from Heart and Soul Connected. And we're having a horrific thunderstorm outside, so if I disappear, do not fear. Marina has control. So
I have the power.
She's got the power, man. She can turn it on and off. It took me forever to get my computer to come on, and I'm like, oh my God, what is the problem? And they're in the last phase of switching us to fiber in the complex, and I think that's what's been screwing with everybody's internet as they rip out the old and put in the new.
Yeah.
And so I'm like starting to panic. It's storming and lightning outside. I finally get it to come up. And thank God I saw Marina was already there. I said, I'm sending you an admin link just in case, because I can't guarantee my phone will even work at this point. So, and especially if it's storming really bad, then I can't get out on the patio for the phone to work.
Exactly.
So, well, thank y'all for coming. Looks like we've got some more folks in the house with us.
Perfect.
Michelle Mybell, Acadian Proud, Gordian Knott, Dawn Turner, Estelle Hardington. That's a new name. Welcome. She may be one of y'all's. I don't know. Play Love Remember. And thank y'all for joining us tonight. Now, as y'all know, for sisters, we do not take questions from the chat. We only read on questions if you had left one in the comment section from the community tab when we post that for the next show coming up. And so I didn't have any questions. I'm assuming y'all didn't have any questions. So we're just going to chit chat and try to stay positive in a time of craziness. I don't know what to say without being ugly, and I don't want to go there. So hi Bunny Young, hi In the Zone, hi Anya, and Wim 19, Jen B, Always a Song. Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Joanne Astelou, Edward Kenneth is here. Casanova Vixen. Oh, I like that one too.
Casino, honey.
Casino.
Casino. Look like Casanova. Okay, y'all can tell where my brain's going.
If you win money, then you can be a Casanova. That's all.
Yeah, there you go. I did buy a lot of ticket last weekend. I still don't know if I won anything or not. I forgot to check. And I need to go look it up. See, maybe I won $5 enough to pay for the ticket I bought,
There you go. There you go.
Hello, Jan. Yeah. So tonight our topic was, I started thinking about the fact that it's the beginning of June. Summer is hitting us all, or most of us. I guess some of y'all, it's winter that's starting to move in.
Yes.
But this is usually when everybody gets ready to go on vacation, starts planning vacations. And I started thinking, what are some good vacation memories that we might have, especially from our childhood, if we got to go anywhere exciting, and that we could share and talk about that and just bring back some good memories when times were good and people actually had money to go on a vacation.
Yes.
You could afford it without going into debt,
Exactly.
I used to work with a girl in Phoenix that starting January 1st, she and her husband would start saving a portion of their salaries every payday and sock it away to take all the kids and cousins and the mother-in-law, everybody, they all went to Disney World
Oh,
every year for Christmas. That was the Christmas present for all the kids, was they all got a trip to Disney World. And they would buy like the big packet. So you would stay at the hotel in the park. And the only thing you had to pay for separately was your food, which seems kind of a ripoff to me. They should include the food too. And, but so they would start paying, like the day after they got back, they would do the next package for the next year, and they would start paying on it all year long. And I used to say, why are you going all the way to Disney World when Disneyland is just literally hours away? She's like, no, I grew up going to Disneyland. There is nothing there I want to see.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I used to feel that way about Six Flags over Texas, the one in Galveston. Oh my God, we used to go there all the time. It got where I hated that place. And I don't think it's there anymore. I don't know if there's any Six Flags anywhere anymore, to think about it.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. So
Yeah.
somebody will look it up and they'll tell us. So I'm not worried about it. And Joanne has a birthday. Happy birthday, Joanne.
Nice.
I know that hi Maureen. I know that
drive-in movies. Oh, that was so much fun.
I used to love going to the drive-in movies. That was so cool because we would get out on the hood of the car.
Yeah.
Like a blanket and lay down on the hood of the car. And of course, you had the windshield, so you had that natural incline.
Yeah.
You just kick back and watch the movie. That was the best. The only thing bad about it was the mosquitoes. And you had to load yourself down with off.
And the concession. Because
we brought our own food. We didn't go to the concession stand. It was too expensive. And so hi Amanda, hi Red Dragon, and Annie and Helen, and I'm so glad to see all of y'all tonight. So Marina, let's start with you. What are some fond vacations from any time in your past? It could have been last year, it could have been 40 years ago, whatever. Just what are some good ones you remember?
Coming from that European background, we were brought up with that work ethic that, vacations, you didn't need a vacation, you just worked. So the family didn't really go on vacation per se, but we would do go away for the weekend or go away for 4 days or that kind of stuff. And so we had a chance quite often because we were, very, very close to the Adriatic. That was where we would go. We would go to the beach and so on. And I remember one of the times that we went, and my grandmother, my dad's mother, was with us. And I was used to seeing women on the beach with the hairy armpits and the hairy legs. And so when I saw the first woman who didn't have hair on her legs, and I ran to my grandmother and I said, "What's wrong with her? Look at her."
That's good. That's good.
And my grandmother had said to whoever she was sitting next to, and I can't even remember who it was, "Oh, she must be Italian. You know what she does." So that was my introduction to ladies who worked at pleasurable jobs, and the fact that women didn't always look like the way that we looked, right? So yeah. And here I say, no more hairy armpits, no more hairy legs and all that good stuff. But yeah, at that time, that stood out.
That's funny.
I remember the first time I saw a woman with hairy armpits, and I was like, "Ooh, what's wrong with her?"
Yeah. What do they braid it? I didn't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's like my sister. The first time that she ever saw a black man, and he was black. I think from somewhere in Africa, and she said, "Wow, look at that black man," as opposed to the white black man.
Yeah.
Look at that black man. Yeah, she just couldn't wrap her head around that.
Well, we had a guy in my class. We had a guy in my class, and somebody said at the time that something about the colored people, and he was he was a black guy, and he said, "What color are they?" Because that was the thing to say then, though.
Yeah, I mean that was considered light conversation, which you said colored people. And today insulting, but back then you said it if you didn't want to get punched. I mean, that was
not only that though, Shari. Now they say people of color, which is a nice thing to say. Yeah. It's just the way the reversal, but
yeah, exactly. So I remember the first time I made a friend at school, and I was talking about her, and I can't remember what her name was, but it was kind of an off the wall name. And we had some family visiting, and one of the aunts looked at me and she said, "Well, what color is she?" And I looked at her and I said, "I don't know. Why?" And she was like, "You don't know what color she is?" And I said, "I don't remember looking."
Yeah.
Just never crossed my mind,
Yeah.
It wasn't until somebody pointed it out, and I was like, well, she's darker than I am, but she just has a tan, I think.
Well, good for you.
I had no clue.
That's because
until it's pointed out. That's
exactly.
Children don't have it until it's pointed out. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They don't see it, so they are taught how to be prejudiced. The children are taught how to be a lot of things.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, left to their own devices. The world would be a much, much better place.
It would.
Oh God, isn't that the truth?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh goodness.
So, yeah, I had lots of fond memories with my grandmother. She was quite the character that, as I didn't realize that as a child. As an adult, looking back, I can say, oh, you know what, she did a lot of things that were that would be frowned upon today. In that I was the first girl born on my my father's side of the family, the first girl in 7 generations.
Wow.
So yeah, when I came along, according to my grandmother, I could do no wrong. I was, the chosen one. When my sister came along, it was old news. And when my cousin came along, he was a boy. She just never treated them the same way.
Wow.
So yeah, that was, I wish I could go back and talk to her and say, that was kind of unfair because, I mean, yeah. But then my sister did weird things to my grandmother because one time we were all sitting outside on my grandmother's step. And of course, she had a good deal of jewelry, necklaces, and so on. And she was playing with one of the necklaces. And she said, when I die, this is going to be yours. And my sister grabbed a hold of the necklace, looked it over, put it in her mouth, and kind of bit down on it a little bit and said, "Are you going to die soon?"
Out of the mouths of babes. Oh my God.
When can I expect it?
Because,
sounds like a real card. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I think she might have been, oh God, she was 5. 5 or
Oh,
6
sure.
at a time.
Oh,
Like,
those are good ages.
yes,
You never
yes,
know what's going to come out of their mouth, and it's always
exactly.
in front of the wrong person. Yeah,
Yes.
Uh-huh.
You're
That's
gonna
right.
drive
never
so-
fails. Never fails.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, what about you, Allie? Any
Well, I was
fond
thinking about this.
memories or?
Yeah, and I said, "Oh, I think I need to talk about June 1994."
Oh,
June 1994, I was living in Texas, and my family and I decided to go to New Mexico for a vacation, and that's wonderful. So we drove over because we were right, next door, so to speak, and spent a lot of time in Carlsbad Caverns. If you ever get a chance to go there, it's
It's
just the
gorgeous
coolest
there.
place. It
Yeah.
is. And what I thought the best part of it was we were in a campground, and when we came back at night, there was all these deer like taking a walk together.
oh yes.
It's like they were all coordinated, they were walking down the street. It was no big deal. So my kids and I had a really, we had a good time, and we went to Taos, which I recommend. It's somehow even better than Sedona. It can be better than Sedona. We went to Santa Fe and so on and so forth. But what I remember explicitly is where I was on June 17th, 1994. And that was when OJ was in the Bronco.
Oh,
Oh my, that was my great grandmother's birthday was June
Oh, was it?
17th. I forgot
Okay.
it was the same day.
And we were at the motel in Red River, New Mexico on our way home. And we turned the TV on, and there's the Bronco going down the highway. And we
20
didn't even,
million
I don't even
police
think we heard
cars.
about it. What's that?
I said with 20 million police cars following
Oh, I
him
know. Yeah.
at
And
20
he had
miles
his
an
gun to
hour.
his
I remember thinking, y'all can't catch him. He's going really
Yeah.
slow. I mean,
I know. Yeah. But he had, and Al, the guy that was driving the car, he's got the gun to his head. He's going to kill
Yes.
himself
Yeah.
and all this other stuff. And I don't think we knew about what happened because we were on vacation and we were in
Yes.
an RV, and so we really weren't watching anything. But it was like, what's going on here? And they put in all the Hertz ads of him jumping over the luggage and all the stuff he used to do. And it was amazing. And so it's one of those times, where were you when this happened? And I knew exactly where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
what a
that's
beautiful
cool.
vacation. Besides that, the vacation
Yes.
was really awesome. It was really good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
Well,
There was one year, and this was I was married, and my in-laws lived on Graminan Island, which is in the Bay of Fundy. Just it's part of New Brunswick, and we had at that time we were coordinators with a program that brought in foreign exchange students. So we had an exchange student staying with us, and we were also supervising several other students. And so we thought it would be a lot of fun to take the kids. We'll go to my in-laws. They've got, nice piece of land. Everybody can go camping, right? We can set up tents and all that. And it gives them a chance to see another province and so on and so forth. Anyway, so there we are. We packed up 2 carloads and off we go to Graminan Island. And you take the ferry across, and it's lovely, and you see the whales and so on. Well, Graminan Island it's not that big. It's small. And when at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of, like street lights or whatever. So, when it got dark, So my husband was driving one vehicle, I was driving the other vehicle, and we had taken the kids to one of the beaches, and now it's getting dark and we're going home. So I am following behind my husband, and he is kind of racing down the road. And I didn't really appreciate that. I thought that he should be a little more careful. So I'm trying to get his attention. And no. So I'm flashing the lights, and he's still not slowing down. And I thought, okay, all right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my lights off. he won't be able to see me when I come up right behind him. And then I'm going to turn them on and that'll scare him. That was the plan. So I'm driving. I got the lights off. It's really dark. And I get close to the car and I flash on the lights. And it's a completely different car than he was driving. It's like, oh shit.
Oh,
So it's like,
wow.
back off. Don't know me. Don't. Tourist. It was, yeah.
Oh.
Last
Now
month.
you probably have them pull you over and do something to you, you know? That's a sad thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Oh God, yes. They're crazy on the roads. It's like I
Yeah.
just stay in my lane and I don't look at anybody anymore. It's
Yeah.
like, you just don't know who's driving down the road with you.
Yes.
And I guess I thought of this topic because something had reminded me earlier last weekend of the first vacation that I really ever remember. And I think I was like about 5. It was just before my brother was born. And I went with my grandparents. Now, we lived in Southeast Texas in Beaumont, which is down by Houston.
Mhm.
And my grandfather, one of his sisters and her husband and their kids had moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma for his job. He was in the oil business. Everybody was in the oil business back
Yes.
then. And so they decided they're going to drive to Oklahoma and go and visit. And I'm like, okay. So I wanted to go too, because their youngest was my age. My cousin Teresa, she and I were the same age. And so we're driving across Texas, kind of a northwest path from where we were. And we drove through what's called Devil's Back Canyon. And it's like a canyon area where it's the roads along the side with like a 400 foot drop down into this canyon. And we're driving along and I'm in the back seat, not really paying attention when my grandmother said something about, oh, how beautiful it was. And I looked up and freaked out. And then my granddaddy was like, oh yeah, let's pull over and look. And so he just go, they had the little outcroppings where you could pull off the road.
Yeah.
And I don't remember doing this. This is the story I was told. I remember the trip vaguely, but I don't remember freaking out the way I did. And they said I hit the floorboard screaming, I got the heights. I didn't know what else to call it because all I know is that when I saw down and everything started spinning, I had vertigo really bad. I've always fought it. But at the age of 5, I didn't know what to call that. And so it was, I got the heights. And they didn't know what the hell I meant. But I would not come up off the floorboard. I was hysterical, according to my grandparents. He had to get in the car, get back on the road, and they had to go down a ways before they could pull into like a little grocery store, gas station type place and get out of the car and let me see there's solid ground. There's no drop offs and to calm me down. And I was just, of course, my grandmother laughed about that for decades afterwards about I got the heights, that's because, like I said, I was 5. What the hell? But I remember we're walking around this little, and it was like a little, like one gas pump and a little mom and pop type store. And they had like driftwood and rocks and geodes and all that kind of stuff back in the day before anybody knew what any of that crap was. And there was this great big beautiful purple geode, like the one that Lori, the way it changed, has behind her. It could have been a twin of that one, like the other half maybe. And it was huge. And I just remember the color just really made me feel, and it was, of course, it was amethyst, and it soothed me. It made me so happy to be in front of that rock. And I just sat there and stared at it for the longest time. And my grandfather bought it for me. And I think he paid $10 for it. I mean, we're talking back in the 60s, y'all.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of money back then to buy for a damn rock, but it was a pretty nice sized geode. And And I hauled that thing around with me for decades. And somewhere along the way, I don't know, it got lost in the shuffle of moves, and I've never been able to find it. I don't know when and where I lost it. But ever since then, I've wanted to have another one. And the first time I watched Lori on YouTube and she had that geode behind her, my first thought was, she's got my damn rock.
Yeah.
You know, like she stuck around and stole it from me and somewhere in the cosmos. That was my first thought, because it's like it looks like it's the other half of what got split open, you know. And but I think that was, looking back, I think that was probably my first experience with healing powers with crystals. Nobody knew what the hell that was. I mean, except maybe some hippies that lived down on the communes, you know, they would know what we were talking about, or the Native Americans, you know, they would probably know. But I just liked the color and just made me feel calm. So he bought it for me, and
well, he had to keep that heights.
Yeah, that's right. Keep me calm from the heights. And I mean, and there were plenty of other vacations along the way growing up, but none of them stuck out quite like that one did. And then the only other one I remember was when Lewis was, I don't know, maybe about 5 or so, and we had gotten a small settlement for when my husband had gotten hurt. And we decided, we were living here in Louisiana, and we decided we were going to go back to Florida and go visit family. And we went, oh God, what was it? Was it Florida we went to, or was it Mississippi? I don't know. It was one of them. And my husband had bought a van. And we went and we camped out on the beach in this van, and it's like this airbrushed van, you know, with like a sunset and racing, you know, horses in the desert type thing, airbrushed on the side, really hippie looking. And so this was the 80s by that point. So, and it was Florida we had gone to, and we decided, we stayed one night in the van, and then we decided, no, we're going to go stay at a hotel. So for the first time ever, we went and got a room on the beach. Literally, you open the patio door and the sand was right there, 20 feet out, and you hit the water, you know. Yeah. And we were like, oh, this is awesome. We've never been able to stay in a room like it. It was like the Holiday Inn or something. And at one point, my husband got out to the car to go sneak a few smokes on his pipe. And he had this group of teenagers come up, was looking at the van, and they were like, man, you wouldn't happen to know we could get some of that marijuana. And he come inside telling me, I said, tell me you didn't give it to him. I said, because they might call the cops on you. And that was back when they would throw you in prison for that, you know. And he was like, no. I told him, no, I didn't have any, even though I'm sure the clouds of smoke coming out of the van, you know, was told them I was a liar. But I sat and laughed about it. I said, well, it took some guts for them to come up and ask you. He says, I think it was the van. They took one look at the van and figured he's got to be cool, right? He said, and I had rock music playing on the stereo, and he had long hair, longer than mine is now. And so I think they just saw a hippie dude and just thought, oh yeah, he's gonna have something.
He's scary.
And he's got to have something on him. But that's the only other, those are the only really 2 vacations that really always stood out in my head. Was I got the heights, and then my husband being high and trying to hide it from a group of teenagers.
Yep.
Because back then it was like, how do we know there wasn't a cop parked around the building waiting to see what he did? You know, so
exactly. Or they could have been undercover too. You know, back then, they are when they were. Especially when the new ones joined the force, and if they at all had that childlike appearance about them, they would go undercover.
They would use them as undercover
student, and
absolutely. And you know, we're talking late 80s. So
Yeah.
it was still very much a big taboo, no thing across the country, and it's like you were careful about even admitting that you knew somebody who might smoke, much less that you did it yourself, And so it just always struck me as funny because he'd come in the apartment, in the hotel room, laughing his butt off about it. I'm like, what's so funny? And he proceeded to tell me, and all I could think of was, tell me you didn't give them any. And he's like, no, I told him, I'm sorry, I'm out. I don't have any more.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, we just never took a lot of vacations. Who could afford it? I mean, and for a good portion of my childhood, we lived in Florida, so vacation meant a day at the beach. We just drove to the beach, no big deal. I mean, other people would come visit. They were on vacation, but it was just normal for us. And
Keith and I went to visit my brother in Tucson, and coming back, we had to go back to Phoenix to get out of the state and go home. And I wanted to have a hotel right there at the airport close by, so I didn't have to worry about getting to the airport on time. So I booked it and everything was fine. We go to find this hotel, and we're driving down the street. It's a motel, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's like shabbiest shabby, the most, oh my God, and here we are. And I said to Keith, oh my God, I had no idea that, I just didn't know. And he said, I know you didn't. It's okay. So, and we'd already prepaid for it. So we get in, and they tell us where our room is, and there's people cooking barbecue outside their rooms, because what it is a place people live as well.
Oh,
yeah.
So we get there, and I'm like, oh God, I just want to get in the room and shut the door. I don't want. Well, the sheets you could see through. I mean, it got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But this will really get you. I said to Keith, I don't know if we're going to make it out of here. I really don't. And there's a lot of noise outside all night long. Yeah. And a helicopter. We heard a helicopter, and I turned on the news, and there's the helicopter over our hotel doing a drug bust.
Oh my God.
And I was terrified. I said,
don't open the door.
Look, it's our hotel. And it was like, it was like, never ever book a hotel room like that unless you know for sure where your area is. OMG. I was
and
just
I admit
terrified.
something. We actually lived in one of those hotels when Lois was little, like around 2 or 3. My husband was a maintenance man, and we got a 2-room suite to live there because he worked there. And it was like, we didn't go out of the room unless we had to, because we rented rooms by the hour, if you get my drift.
Yes.
And there was this one guy that would come in like twice a month. He would come in, he would rent a room for the night. We don't know what he did in the room. I don't think anybody ever worked up the courage to ask him.
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
Right. But the next day after he checked out, we always had to replace the lamp that was in the room, like those big old lamps with the big things you put the light bulbs in. The light bulbs would be all like lined up on the sink, the little thing where the sink was. The lamp would be unplugged and it would no longer work. And I don't know what he did with the lamp or what he used the lamp for. And nobody wanted to ask. All they knew is that when they saw him pull in, they would call up the local Walmart and order another lamp because they knew they'd be replacing it the next day.
OMG. Oh my God.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Poor people. I managed a storage unit place. That was hard enough. but a motel, oh, you guys really.
Yeah, we weren't there long, but
Mhm.
yeah, it was like, this is crazy. I think the only other crazy thing that ever happened there is, like I said, we had a 2-room suite. One was the bedroom area with the beds and a bathroom. And then the other little room was like a little kitchenette, stove and refrigerator, sink. And I was baking. There was like a holiday coming up, and I was doing baking early because the stove was like half of the normal size of a stove and oven. So you had to cook everything in pieces. And it was late at night. My guys were, my son and my husband in bed asleep. And we had a curtain that we kept the doorway between the bedroom and the kitchen. And I had the kitchen door, outer door, opened all the way to let the heat out from the oven being on. And I had walked through the curtain to go grab a cigarette off of the nightstand. And I come back through the curtain. And of course, the door was wide open. And I come back through the curtain with this man standing in my doorway. And it scared me so bad that I screamed, like blood-curdling scream. And I couldn't stop screaming. It was like every breath I drew, more screams came out. And
The big
of course,
motel.
my husband shot up out of exactly. My husband shoots up out of the bed. Now all he's got on is a pair of boxer shorts, right? And he jumps up, and the man's like backing up. He was just wasted out of his brain. He's like, wrong room. And he's like just trying to, back away. And I couldn't stop screaming. I just kept screaming.
Yeah.
And my husband goes tearing through the curtain. And I'm sitting there, and he could hear the man saying, wrong room. And he looks out, and the man saw him because we had a Louisville Slugger baseball bat that he kept by the bed. And he grabbed the baseball bat, nothing but his shorts on, right? And jumps out. And the guy saw him, turned around, and took off running. My husband took off after him. Meanwhile, I'm screaming. I can't stop screaming. The neighbors are like, the couple that live next to the room next to us, they come over to see. They finally calmed me down. I don't know why it freaked me out so bad. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And he said he got about 3 or 4 blocks. Now, at the time, where this hotel was at was like right on the edge of the projects area. There were very few white people that go into that area unless you kind of have protection. That's just the way it was back then. And he said he got about 3 or 4 blocks down the road. And the guy disappeared somewhere along the way before he realized he's this white man in nothing but his boxer shorts with a baseball bat in his hand, running down the road through the middle of the projects. He said he was never more scared in his life going back to the room.
Oh, I bet.
For fear that that's when he would get caught and trying to
All that
explain
adrenaline
it to
was
some
gone
cop,
by the time getting back. Yeah.
But I mean, he come back and he was like, well, did he hurt you? I said, no, he didn't do anything. It just scared me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting it. I said, and I don't know why I screamed. I've never reacted like that ever in my entire life. I mean, out of all the horror movies I've ever watched, and I thought, what the hell are you screaming for? Just, punch them or run or something. That's not realistic. Well, yeah, it's realistic. Sometimes it scares you so bad you can't stop screaming.
Yes.
And it was just, I mean, I think back on it, we used to talk about it later on, and we'd laugh our butts off about it. And I still get a giggle out of it when I think about it, because I just keep picturing that poor guy who was wasted out of his brains, backing up with his arms up, going, wrong room. It's just, he was just walking around looking for a party, evidently, I don't know. But nobody knew who he was, where he came from. He wasn't.
He's never going back there again.
That's true. Not if that crazy man and that woman showed up.
Oh my God.
But it wasn't long after that we moved, because I was like, I can't live here no more. This is too much. But it was one of those small intervals where you just do what you got to do to survive, right? So
yes,
and most of the time it was perfectly nice. I mean, it was weirdos that were around, but we kept Lewis inside, and we stayed inside unless we had to go out for something. And just because it's like, yeah, I'm not mixing and mingling with anybody out there, you know. Don't mean to be snobby, but you know, we'd have truckers that would pull in and rent a room for, you know, 3 or 4 hours, and there were several of the working ladies that lived at the hotel as well. And
Of course.
they would get a call from the office and say, room 26 is looking for blah, 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 blah. And then one of them would go, okay, I'll take care of it. And they go down. I was like, they had a good system worked out, you know, I mean,
Yeah, totally.
and so, I mean, the hotel would charge an extra fee for concierge service, you know, and
Yeah.
and then
you
there
know,
was
when
the
I
guy
first
that
moved-
always had to replace the lamps. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. When we first moved back to Calgary, Chris and I, we were staying with my parents, and I don't know how long we'd been there, but we're all sound asleep, and the doorbell is ringing, and it's like, you know, who's ringing the doorbell at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning? It's ridiculous. So Mom and Dad go to the door from the upstairs, and I go to the door from the downstairs. And so the two of them are standing, you know, kind of on the landing looking at me like, if anyone's going to open the door, go ahead, you know, let it be you. So I thought, okay. So I opened the door, and yeah, there's a man there. You could clearly tell that he was drunk. I mean, he was drunk. He had a 7-Eleven plastic bag. You know how long ago that was, because they had plastic bags. Mm-hmm. He had a 7-Eleven bag in his hand, and he looked at me, and he went, here, and he's giving me this bag. And I'm going, oh, no, it's okay. No, it's for you. And so I thought, okay, well, you know, what is it? Anyway, so I said, okay, thank you. I took the bag, and I said, all right, thank you. And I closed the door. And I'm looking through the little window, and he's walking away. So I look in the bag, and it's a pound of bacon. You know, he bought bacon. And I thought, oh, okay. Now what do I do? You know, I mean, we're all awake. We're all asking questions and so on and so forth. And I thought, well, you know, I should at least let the police know just in case, because what if he's walking down the middle of the road and you know, there's an accident or something. So I thought I was doing the right thing. So I called the non-emergency line, explaining this to him. And the lady said, okay, well, did you see which way he went? And I said, yeah, he went east on this street. And, you know, from there, he could only either go south or north, like, you know, and he wasn't moving too fast. So she said, okay, all right. She said, well, I'll let the units know to keep an eye out for him. And by the way, if he shows up again, make sure he's got eggs. I said, oh, yes, okay.
He was bringing home the bacon. He was told
to bring home the bacon.
So you know what? Remember this ad? Don't bring home the bacon. Think lean. Bring home the sizzling. You should have said, I wanted sizzling instead.
Not best.
Well, wrong brand. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you know, once we had a chance to kind of calm down from, you know, out of a sound sleep to that, it was funny.
Who was the first one who said, well, let's cook the bacon?
I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about that. I don't know.
What I want to know is, were you guys watching the movie Porky's when this was going on?
Excuse me. Yeah, no. Yeah. And we referred to that, I can't tell you how many times.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Maureen says he wanted you to make him breakfast, Marina.
He didn't ask for that. He just said, here. This is for you. So
You know, there's a missing home out there that he was supposed to bring that to his wife. He thought you were her.
Yes, or he got into a lot of trouble when he got home
Yes.
without a package.
Yes, where's
and he
the
said, I
bacon?
gave you $20. Where's the
right.
money? Where's the bacon?
Well, I brought it to you.
You said thank you? Yeah.
Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
so fun. Oh, geez.
That's
Fun.
That
good,
brings
Marina.
up so many different memories.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
so many. So, yeah, whether they're vacation or just things that happen around the house,
I know. Yeah.
you know, they're
Yep.
concentrate on the
My daughter got home from high school and she went upstairs, and the next thing she knew, somebody walked in the back door. She didn't lock it behind her, and she could hear this person downstairs. And she goes downstairs, and there's a woman standing there completely drunk. And she said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Where's the bathroom?" And my daughter said, "No, you need to leave my house. You need to go, please." And she said, "Well, I got to go to the bathroom." She said, "You know, this isn't your house. You need." So she calls the police, and the police come, and she's sitting out in her car in the driveway. She's drunk as a skunk, and she doesn't know where. She's disoriented. So they get her out of the car, and she had shit her pants. And so the cop says to her, "What the hell's going on here? You shit your pants." And my daughter's got tears rolling down her face. And oh my God. And so, you know, they took her away. Well, there was a girl in her high school. That was her mother. She lived up around the corner.
Oh my
And
gosh.
my daughter was the right kind of kid, because she never said another word about it to anybody at school. That would have been so embarrassed. Can you imagine your mother doing that? Oh my God. Yeah. No, not naked.
And there's some kids in some schools that would have rode that pony all the way.
Oh, I know.
Oh, absolutely.
You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The woman had a defense. I asked to use the bathroom. They wouldn't tell me where the bathroom was.
That's it. Yeah.
Not my fault.
Well, you know, if you ever get a chance to look at what a back seat of a black and white looks like, they're hard plastic seats.
Yes.
Not comfortable.
And I remember asking one time, "Why don't y'all have regular seats in the back?" He says, "You want to know what people do in that back seat? It's easier to take the hose to it." And I went, "Never mind. I don't need to know anything else."
No, and I'm sure they had to put her in the back seat of this car. And
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I feel bad for her in some ways. I mean, she was obviously an alcoholic and she wasn't in control of things, but you don't go busting into somebody's back door and ask to go to the bathroom. She's all shit.
Yes.
I looked up and saw that and thought, okay, I got to put that up on the screen.
Good one.
Yeah. Completely naked. There's something wrong with me. No, show spirit.
I don't know, share spirit. I don't know, being naked or pooping your pants. I don't know which would be the worst one, but maybe both.
Both.
Oh my goodness.
Fun time.
Oh
There's
my
so
goodness.
when you stop and think back to all the times that you laughed yourself silly.
Yeah.
It's amazing how often it happens. And we just have to remember.
And it's a wonderful thing to be laughing at again in a lot of ways, just because right now we need that more than anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not a matter of laughing at someone.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Although it's laughing at something maybe that they've done or that we've done.
We've done some
But
pretty
you know,
dumb,
it's not like punching down at somebody. It's just it's that shared memory of, oh my God, you'll never believe this one, you know.
I know.
And we've all got stories like that. I mean, holy moly, I could probably write a whole novel on it, you know, just between stuff that happened to me and then stuff that happened to my husband that he used to tell us about, and then stuff that happened to us together that I think one of the coolest stories he ever told was he and a couple of his buddies high as a kite. They were like 16, 17 years old. And they decided to go cruising out the country, just down in Mississippi now. So they're on one of the highways headed north, some little blacktop road. And they're cruising. And one of them's like, man, we need to get a gas station or something, put some gas in the car.
Yes.
And so they're driving, and there's nothing but just fields, And then they see a light up ahead, and as they're coming up, he said it was like a crossroads with a red blinking light in the middle, and there was like a building on each corner. The street lights around that corner was on, light was flashing. There wasn't a soul in sight. He said, not a person in sight, nothing stirred. It was just like a set that you drove up on. But just as they were coming into it, there was a sign on the road saying the name of the city, and it said, end of the world. He said, and they stopped the car, and they all looked at each other. Of course, they were all just high enough to freak out. They were like, yeah, no, we're not going there. So they turned around the middle of the road and went back until they found another place. And about 2 weeks later, he and one of the guys decided, we're going to go find this place and go check it out during the daytime. He said he can't count how many times they drove every blacktop road going north from their town and never found this place.
Yeah.
Never found the road, the city sign, never found the crossroads with the light. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing. I said, you probably would have popped out into another dimension somewhere.
Exactly.
And you think Twilight Zone? Yeah, he said that's what went through my mind. And he did not believe in the woo-woo, but he believed that if he had gone into that town, it would have been the Twilight Zone.
It was the end of the world for him.
Yeah.
I was in the back seat of the car. I was probably in about the 9th or 10th grade. And I went for a ride with my parents through New Hampshire, upper New Hampshire. And we're driving through, and I'm like, where the heck are we? And I look up, and the sign for the place is up there, and it says Effingham. EFFING. It's a place. And I said, oh my God, I lost it. I couldn't stop laughing because my mother would swear if she had a mouthful of it, she wouldn't say anything. But I'm like, Effingham? Who names their place Effingham?
Somebody that was really frustrated that day.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. You want to find some hilarious town names. Look up some of the towns that are in Newfoundland.
And Pennsylvania Dutch too. Yeah.
In Newfoundland, you'll find a town called Dildo. You'll find
that's just fake.
Yes, that's right. It's not real. There's 3 towns that are just not that far apart from each other, and they're called Heart's Delight, Heart's Desire, and Heart's End or something. Anyway, Heart's Delight, Heart's Desire, and
Dildo.
And Dildo. Yeah, there's Dildo. Come by Chance.
Well, in Pennsylvania, this
we got some weird ass names down in our town, and you get back up in them backwoods. It's like,
Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
When they named that town, it was like, what kind of drugs were they taking? What did they put in that shine that they were mixing in the still?
I remember my dad sent a postcard to people when we went to Pennsylvania Dutch, and he said, I spent the night in intercourse with my wife and daughter. Because that's the name of the town, Intercourse, Pennsylvania. And he knew that everybody would laugh. Work,
yes,
that was funny, but
that's right.
Oh, that's so funny. Did y'all just hear that thunder we just had roll through here?
No.
It was like started off to my right, and I could hear it rolling across the room.
My God.
I was like, Okay.
Rolling thunder, hear my cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Mm.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I heard
Oh,
it, and the first thing I thought was Riders of the Storm with Jim
Really?
Morrison in the Doors.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Jennifer says there's a town in Wisconsin called Billabong.
yeah. Yeah.
I love
Oh,
it.
And
I love it.
yeah, close to Pawpaw, West Virginia.
Yeah, Paw Paw, West Virginia. Yep. Oh my
And
God.
Or
did
Hell,
you-
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Hell, yeah.
There's a Hell, Michigan, too. I think there's a Hell, Mississippi as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I'm
Uh-huh.
pretty sure there's one in Texas.
Yeah.
So,
Can you imagine? Where do you live? In hell.
in Hell.
In hell.
Literally and figuratively, I live in
Yeah.
Hell.
Right.
The founder of the Beach Boys.
Yes,
passed away.
Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson. Yes. Yeah.
He died, and so
Yeah.
did Sly Stone did just the other day as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
One
that.
more, you
Sly
know.
Stone.
There'll be one more. Yeah.
There'll be one more.
Yeah.
Makes
weed,
me wonder
California.
if
I love weed. I've
Mick
been-
Jagger, I don't know, he's so petrified from alcohol and drug use, he may not ever die, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's no telling. As long as it's not Ringo or Paul, I'm okay. They
Yes.
need to last a little while longer.
Yeah.
It's sad to see our icons going down. I think,
It
of
is.
course, our parents saw their icons going down, but
Yes.
it's kind of sad.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And
It
Anya
is,
says,
it
yeah,
is.
going to hell and back. Yes.
Mhm.
And Walla Walla, Washington. Yes.
Boring
Well-
Oregon.
There's a place in Germany. I thought it was a place. We couldn't find it on the map. And we're looking for it as we're driving. And we're like, where the heck is Ausfahrt, Germany? And it means exit. And if to enter is Einfahrt. So
Yes.
it's not on the map. Where the hell is Aus? There's a shirt you can buy that says, "Where the hell is Ausfahrt, Germany?" Oh my god!
Oh my God.
That's too funny. Oh my
So-
God.
Some
Oh, God.
places. Yes,
Sure,
some-
Spirit said I just died.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, y'all, it's been 58 minutes
Yes.
for of nothing but nonstop laughter. I think we needed that more than anything else.
Yep.
Because I know none of us were in a very pleasant mood when we got ready to get started here. It's been that kind of day.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks for being with us, everybody.
yes, thank y'all very much. Thank you, the gods above, for letting my internet stay on. Although I have Marina as backup, she's got the power. So I was like, just in case.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
You were a girl.
And
Yes.
next week we will be on Val's channel, Dragonfly Crystals. She'll be her turn to host. And y'all got anything special coming up you want to hawk real quick, or
We got
Marina and I
stories.
got something tomorrow night that should be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool.
And then we
Cool.
got story in the cards on Friday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but messages for light workers tomorrow, and then on the 13th, I'll be on Cool Crone readings. Saturday's going to be filled with some other things, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the party to start on Saturday. I want to see it rain. I hope to see thunder and lightning, just like thunder. Anyway, I won't bore you with the singing, but yeah, that's
Well,
it.
I've got 2 new people coming on Saturday. One, her name is Jaylene, all about animals. She's an animal communicator. She talks to animals.
Nice.
Nath introduced her. And so I invited her on, and she's going to be on Saturday. And then there's a new lady. She just popped into my feed. She had like 100 subscribers. I don't know. She's like just getting started. And I watched a couple of her videos and oh, she's kind of cool. So I emailed her, invited her, and she's going to come on. Her name is Saffron.
Cool.
And which
Lovely
always makes me think of they call me Yellow Mellow. But
Yes.
and then the
Nice.
slumber party will be with Ramon Saturday.
Oh, good.
night. So
That's great. I
Yeah,
just want to say, if anybody's out there marching or protesting, they've been
Please be
recommending that you get a MAGA hat and carry it with you. And if things
And-
start going south,
put it on. Also, they were saying this morning, some of the organizers across the country were saying, leave your other country flags at home.
oh yeah,
Only bring out an American flag and fly it, because right now, this is the battle of the image. And you're going to have all of these reporters all
I know.
across from all walks of life. And you let one Mexican flag, one Pakistani flag, one whatever fly, and that's what they're going to just harp on the whole
I know.
weekend.
Yes.
You want them to just see you carrying American flags because America is your country and it's your right and blah, 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 blah. And that's what they were saying to everybody. So it's like, if you got a flag, bring an American flag, stick a
Yep.
MAGA hat in your back pocket. Bring a burner phone. Don't bring your phone. Leave your phone at home and pick up a cheapy burner phone.
Yep.
So that all you have to do is dial 911 for,
Yep.
plug in maybe
So
your
you can't
mama's
be
or your.
tracked. Yeah, so you can't
Yeah.
be tracked. That's the important part.
Exactly. And
Yeah. And
your protest, but stay calm. Don't engage. There
That's
are
right.
going to be people there that, excuse me,
they're
that are
gonna-
going to try to start things. There'll be, loud voices yelling and so on. They're just words. Just don't
And-
even engage.
he's going to have his people out there trying to upset people and make them get
Yes.
angry so that they yell and scream back, or that
Yes.
they throw a punch, or it's don't fall for the trap.
Yeah.
If you go out there, stay calm, just look at them and just go, Viva la America, and just keep on going. I mean, I don't know, but walk away from them if you can. And yeah,
Yeah, lawyer's
Just-
phone
just-
and bail bond office.
Yeah,
and,
That's a great
yeah.
idea, Rose Blue.
Yeah, exactly. And don't go it alone.
Yeah.
Go with a few friends or whatever, so that if you disappear suddenly, there are people looking for you.
Yeah.
You
Somebody,
know, they
somebody
know-
knows you're not there. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody knows that you disappeared from the crowd or that you got yanked up or something. So
Yeah. Safety numbers.
Yeah.
Safety numbers.
yes.
Yeah.
And
That's why you're there. But thank you, all of you, for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all our channels.
the links are all in the description box below. So all you got to do is go down there and click on the link, and it'll take you right to us. And
There you go. Yeah. And
Thanks,
come back
everybody.
next week when we do it again.
thank you all for coming. Next week is Val's week, and thanks for the laughter. Y'all were putting some funny stuff in the chat. I'm gonna have to
Yes.
go back and reread some of it because
Yes,
I was giggling at some of it.
absolutely. All right. Take care.
All right. Good. If I get
Bye.
the damn pop-ups to go away, God bless it. They do that. They start this just as it's time to start in the show. All of a sudden, I get 50 damn pop-ups that'll come up, and it'll block the thing, and I can't close the stream. Bye, y'all.